Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Profit Builder. I'm Vicki Suter, your host, and these videos are all about helping you build a more profitable contracting business, find more time in your day, and reclaim the joy and fun in what you do again. And this video series that I'm sharing with you is a series of interviews that I've done with business owners and leaders who are successful in their own right in the contracting industry and people who I respect quite a bit. And the reason I chose to do this series is because I think that a lot of times we really could benefit from hearing other people's stories and hearing where people have had to break through and where they had a struggle and they overcame that struggle and how did they do that. And to also be able to hear like tips and ideas from other leaders that they have found to be helpful in their own journey and helping them build better businesses and have better lives. I really enjoyed doing these interviews with people. It was really fun hearing their stories, and I'm very excited to share them with you because I think that you're going to get a lot out of hearing from them. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and we'll share the next story. I'm thrilled to have my guest here today, Everson Perez with Perez Construction. So Everson, thank you so much for being here and welcome.
Thank you for having me, Vicki.
Yeah. So Everson and I have worked together for a couple of years now, and I have watched him as a leader and really appreciate, Everson, your whole approach and your whole style to how you lead and how you take a stand for how you run your business. And so it's why I wanted to take this opportunity to spend some time asking you some questions about your leadership style and about how did you come to have that particular philosophy and how do you overcome certain challenges? This is a tough industry to be in.
Yep.
I always say being a contractor is not for the sissies or the faint of heart, right? So, it can be a tough industry. Before I hop into my questions of you, would you just tell people a little bit about Perez Construction and maybe share a little bit about your journey of how did you come to start this business?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Vicki, thank you for having me. So humbling to be here, and by no means do I think that I figured it all out. I'm still on this journey, and I have so much to learn and so much to grow on. Yeah, my name is Everson, as you said. I'm originally from Honduras, born and raised. Went to school here in the United States, went to SF State and got a business management degree. In about 10, 12 years, I have memories going back to when I was 4 or 5 on job sites. So construction has been on my DNA for forever, but about 10 years ago or 12 years ago, I started leading Perez Construction, and right after school, I decided that this is what I wanted to do, as a career, and so I started Perez Construction 7 years ago.
And you when you started the business, was it a business that you started, or do I remember it was your dad's business and you kind of took the business over?
Yeah, my dad has been a subcontractor in the Bay Area for 20 plus years, and I remember every summer going to help him out and on his job sites and just learning the skills, learning the trades. And he struggled as a subcontractor to really make a living in a city like San Francisco, with a family of 7. So it was really tough on him. And there was a moment in time when we had a very traumatic event that I found my dad really struggling, and I decided to tag along. He doesn't speak much English, so he had a hard time having access to different opportunities. So I decided to tag along, and I said, Dad, look, I will lead the management side of the company, and we'll do the work together and whatnot. And so almost as a need, I started to be involved in Perez, or the construction company that my dad had at the moment. And in 2017, we decided that we wanted to integrate and officially become Perez Construction. So it was a bit of a need, essentially, for me to get involved. And even as I was in college, I was doing estimates. I was meeting people, clients, and I was passing inspections, et cetera, as a part-time, essentially. And right after college, it was like a no-brainer for me to just start this.
Nice. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. When you think about, so like there's the whole thing of people start a business, right? And I appreciate, like, you went to school, you got your degree in management, and as you know, what we do, we learn in a textbook and what we learn in real life, not necessarily the same thing. But you found yourself, 12 years ago in a leadership role and having to take on a stronger lead. And I love that, like, you had all that experience from when you were in school and college and learning to estimate or do inspections, what have you. Like, you had the trade part of running a construction business down. You started to learn estimating, right? And so you started to learn some of the back office stuff. But then there's a shift that happens at some point when you take over a business and when you become the leader of that business and you create the vision for it. And you're the one who is the guiding light for where are we going? How do we run? What's important to us? How do we do what we do? And some people are more intentional about that than other people are. And one of the things I know from you and working with you is that you're very intentional about how you lead and run your business. And so can you just talk a little bit about that? Like, how did that shift occur for you when you learned, you started to move from technician, kind of, to leader, and where did that leadership guidepost come from for you? Like, what had you make certain choices about how you lead?
Yeah. So I was 20 when essentially I had to 19, 20 when I started to take over a more leadership role in the company. At the time, it was my dad, a helper, and myself. So it was, we were very small, and I started. It was almost. I would say it was almost a need. I wasn't thinking like I'm growing in this area, I'm developing myself as a leader in this area. It was almost a need to just provide and just bring income home. And the reason why I say that is because I was 20 at the time, so I wasn't really thinking, okay, I'm becoming a business leader, I'm going to be becoming a business owner. And I just started doing things out of necessity almost. And there was this contract, and this client wanted to hire us for this project, but I needed to provide an estimate that was more, and so I went and did research, and I started doing that. And then I, in dry seasons when not a lot of leads were coming, then I started researching, how do I market myself? How do I get our business out there? And I started a Yelp page and essentially built an entire company. And I tried different things to generate leads, and just doing research and whatnot. And I met different people along the way that I got the honor to ask questions, and they got to shape me and as leader and as a business owner. And as I was doing that management part, I was also sweeping, I was also painting, I was also doing demolition, and I was also doing framing. So I was a framer, a plumber, electrician, and also a landscaper, and also an estimator. And so a lot of it was we were really in a growth stage to where we were doing whatever it took to really get the job done. And I had the honor to meet amazing clients along the way who gave us opportunities, but also who gave us really good advice in different directions. And that's how I evolved. And then then I was able to hire my friend, and I was able to hire our brother to come and help us. And so then we became this group of friends and became this group of families who were doing projects together. And then we were able to hire somebody else's brother. And so we started growing. And then one of the things that we started noticing is that we had that it was fun to be with each other. And we wanted to make work fun, and so we started doing fishing trips. And so we would work, Monday through Friday, and like Friday nights we would go and do fishing together, and et cetera, et cetera. And now we do a fishing trip every year, which is a result of just us doing life together. And then we would get together on a Saturday and just have lunch, because we were friends and family essentially. And we were like, hey, let's just do a barbecue, let's do somebody's birthday and stuff. So we started getting together more, and we started noticing how good that chemistry was around each other, and how much we wanted to just cultivate that and continue to grow in that. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
So
totally. Yeah.
To summarize, I became a leader as a almost as a need, and I started growing in all these different leadership traits as a need, and then yeah.
So part of what I hear you saying is, you noticed that when you did this, when you had those fishing trips, or you did the barbecues on Saturday, that it sort of coalesced your team, that you guys worked better, if I'm hearing you correctly, right? And that you realized that that was an important part of keeping the team connected, that you, as you've grown, like here you are 10 years later, that you continue to do that as part of building the culture of your business.
Yeah, the motto of our company is families serving families. And
so say that one more time. The motto of your business of your company is what?
Yeah, families serving families. And everything that we do, it's grounded in that.
Say more about that. What does that mean to you? Families serving families.
We strongly believe that we are, as a team, a family. And one thing that I tell the team is, like, you guys are not working for Everson. We're working together towards a common goal, which is to provide to the different families that we serve, that essentially get provided out of the work that we do. And
I just want to be clear at this point that for anybody who's watching or listening to this, you don't all have just your family friends and your family working in the business 10 years later. Like, you have a lot of other people in the equation who are from different backgrounds and different cultures and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to add that, because as you're talking about this, because this is an important part about your philosophy about how you run your business that I think is really cool and important, and part of what, and I want people's listening to be that of like, yes, and you do this with a very diverse group of people. So go ahead. I'm sorry. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to add that in there.
100%. Now we have 15 people on our team, from all different backgrounds, and only my dad, my brother, my mom, and my sister work in the company. So it's 5 of us that are family, but the rest of us are from different backgrounds. And yeah, families serving families. We are a family. And when I hire someone, when I look at someone who works in our team, I don't see them only. I see their children. I see their wives. And so we always say that every teammate or team member in our family represents a family. And we counted a year ago how many families this company or this family is serving and or providing to, and it's about 50 families who get benefited from what we do. And so that's what family serving family means. We're a family who's working to provide to many families. Yeah.
Nice. Can you speak a little bit more about what are some of the guiding principles about how, so in addition to families serving families, which I think is awesome, to look at it like it's not just that individual, that there's a family behind it. There's certain things that you do that sort of walks the talk, if you will, right? So what does that look like in terms of the, day to day and how you run your business? What are there's certain practices that you have that actually walk that talk?
Totally, Vicky. And let me just say before I proceed, so family serving families, that also speaks to the clients we serve. So every time we start a new project, we sit down with our team and we tell them, okay, well, now we're serving this family. This is the family that we get to collaborate with and on this project. So we have a lot of respect and appreciation for the families that we collaborate with on their homes as well. And we understand that we're going to work on their homes. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we have that we
I just
do.
add one little, I wanted to say something about
Yeah.
that because I think it's worth just pointing out is that part of what that does is it also communicates to your team that we're not just doing the work. These are human beings that we're working with. And I see that businesses who put their focus on approaching projects that way really give the client a different experience, which also has the client be a raving fan of you, like in the end, right? Because remodeling is really stressful for people, or having strangers in their home is very stressful for people. And we look at it like, well, we're just doing work. But having that like awareness about like who's on the other side, I think it's great. I think it's really important in terms of being able to serve people and have just an understanding and awareness of who's on the other side of the project that you're doing. All right, so go ahead. So walk the talk. How does that look?
Before I say that,
Yeah.
some of our best, and we have clients now who are like great friends and of this family, and what I mean by that is we lean on some friend or family or ex-clients to give us tips on marketing, or hey, do we have this document? Like our board of directors or our board of advisors essentially are past clients, and that comes back from just having an awesome relationship with them during their project. And when we are betting our clients, we really try not to look for people or not to collaborate with people who are looking for a transactional relationship. We are always looking for a collaboration, and we really try to treat our clients that way as well. They're not just a dollar amount in our spreadsheet. They're families who their biggest investment is doing a remodel. Like one of their biggest investments in their lives will be doing a remodel, and so we want to be very mindful of that as well.
Yeah.
How we walk this out, and again, we're still learning, but some of the things that we've discovered that getting people together around a table, it's families, I mean, they're known for eating together around a table, but getting people together around a table or around in the same room, it's very beneficial to develop relationships and whatnot. And I would say some of my best friends work in this company now, and that just speaks to what we do. And some of the practical things we do is let me start with there's three practical things that we do, but one of the things that we do is we have rest weeks. We really believe that this family members deserve to spend time with their family. So every July we take a rest week, time for them to go camping, for them to go, spend with their, time with their children who are out of school or their wives, etc. And so that's really important, and we have been doing that for many years now. And on Christmas every year we take 2 weeks off that we pay for our team to go and spend time with their families. Christmas is a very important holiday for us, and we think that their children deserve to spend time with their parents. And the reason why we started doing that was because I grew up seeing a father who was always working Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. through like 7 p.m. And I rarely saw him as I was growing older. And one of the things that is very important to me is for the children of this parent or of this dads to spend time with them. And so we literally tell them, hey, if you send us photos that you took your children out or that you took them camping, we will pay you this week's off, essentially. And so it's become a tradition that they send group photos of them having lunch with their wives or them having, camping trips with their children and at the park with their children. So, and every year we do this because, the children love it, right?
Well, I love that you like it doesn't become just like here's what we do, like we give this week off, but you have an intentionality about it, a purposefulness about it, that you remind people to be mindful and thoughtful about what is the purpose of the week.
Mm.
I love that. And that they have to send photos in order to get paid for the week. That's great. And it doesn't matter if it's their wife or kids or mom or dad, whatever, but that they are engaging in their lives, right? And that they're remembering that this is the reason why you have that week. I love that. That's cool.
We have a group text message, and you see the photos just
Oh,
coming.
fun.
Fine. Um, Other things we do is, we do a Christmas potluck, and we get their wives, their children come together in a big house, and we just celebrate. We do gifts and talk about the highlights of the year. Um, yeah, and again, on the family, serving families, and we serve about 50 families every year on Thanksgiving. We do a Thanksgiving dinner. So Perez Construction essentially books an entire restaurant, all you could eat and drink, and then we just have all the subcontractors, all their employees with their wives. Some of their parents have come to these gatherings, and we do this Thanksgiving celebration essentially for being grateful for a year of work. But we also get to hang out. We don't permit drinking as part of our culture, but this is the one occasion to where they can do one or two drinks and just like hang out, tell jokes, and we get to meet their wives, we get to meet their children. So it's a very fascinating moment for our team.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome. There's other things that you do in terms of the culture that you create in terms of communication and team in creating that environment of connection, communication. And that is those meetings that you hold. Can you talk about those and like what's your you can show the mechanics of it in a second, but I'm more interested in what had you start them and what's important to you about how those meetings are led?
Yeah. First, I'll start with saying you can't be what you can't see.
You can't be what you can't see.
You can't be what you can't see. And oftentimes, as leaders, we have all these amazing ideas and this vision as to where we want to take the team and we want to take this company. But oftentimes, it's hard for the rest of the team. There's a disconnection between leadership and the actual team that slows down the momentum and the opportunity to really get to where you're as a leader, your vision, or you see the team or company going to. So out of that, we started noticing that we had really awesome ideas at the leadership level, but the team really had no idea what was going on. And so we started having quarterly meetings. But let me start with saying at the beginning of every year, we have a visions meeting. And so I prepare essentially what the vision for the next year will be and what the areas that we will be focusing on will be. And we get together in a room with the entire team and we start sharing the vision of what is it that we will be headed to in that year and what our 5-year vision is. And then every quarter we have a meeting to where we get together with the team and we evaluate how are we doing based on our vision. How what are the areas that we're growing in? What are the areas that we're improving on? And so I don't necessarily get the team together to listen to me. I ask them, how are we doing based on our vision that we have? And so the team starts speaking about the areas that they see that we're doing well and et cetera. So it becomes a meeting to where we embrace the vision, to where we are repetitive about the vision, to where people can start to see. And oftentimes in this vision meetings, we use people that we admire in the industry in the city. And so I showed them this is a company that's striving, that's doing excellent work, and this is why, and so that we can start see what excellence and what growth and what achieving or getting there it looks like.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. So I think that's another way that you walk the talk in terms of that, like creating that environment of family and connection. Because it's like, I think so many times that as leaders, we struggle with it's all on us and we have to do it on our own. And we're the focal point of through which everything happens and it's exhausting. And we think that people don't want to take ownership. But the truth is, it's like, how are we creating an environment whereby people have an opportunity to contribute, to take ownership, to really own their part of what makes that business successful? And, you know, what you're sharing is the ways that you do that. And I love that. So nice job. Nice job. All right, we're down to the last couple of questions that I have for you. So the next one is like, this is a tough industry, as we were talking about before, right? And things never go quite as planned. There's always like challenges, breakdowns, difficult clients, subs that don't do what they say they're going to do, an employee flakes, like whatever. Like, and like, how do you, like, what's your way of navigating your way through that helps keep you centered or on point for being able to move through that? Is there any particular, thing that you go, that's my guidepost for no matter what happens, here's how I move through it?
Yeah. And I face many challenges, and I'm sure that I will continue to face things. But one thing that really helps me stay grounded is integrity. Something that I rely on is integrity, and just staying true to who I am. I think that when things get hard, oftentimes we want to reinvent the wheel, but I think the best thing to do is just focus on the things that you're really good at, and so integrity. There's a lot of temptation to move out of your principles and who you are, especially when things go hard. But another thing that I want, another thing that
When
I
you
want
say
to,
integrity, can I just ask you a question about that? Like, what does that look like? Like, I mean, I get the word, I love the word, we all love the word, but what does that mean, like, from a practical point of view, when you're faced with a breakdown, when you hold to your integrity, meaning there's something that you don't do.
yeah,
There's something implied there. As I listen to it, it's implied that there's something that you don't do. What's the thing that you don't do in the face of and what does it mean to have integrity to you?
yeah. I think it's staying. It's honoring your word, what you've said. Even if things get hard, it's staying committed to what you've already said that you were going to do. So it's essentially do what you say you're going to do. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't take shortcuts. Be honest. No need to deceive people or lie about what is it that you're doing just that's what I mean by integrity. It's staying true to your principles, to who you are.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Yeah, and that whole thing about being willing to tell the truth, like stuff happens, and when we can, I mean, I don't know about you, but like and maybe for what you're talking about, but like, I know for me that ability to be able to take responsibility
Yeah,
when
I like that.
when it's on me,
I like
and responsibility is not shame, blame, fault. It's literally the ability to respond. And if I can take responsibility and go, here's what's happened, here's what I'm going to do in order to do something different, or here's what I'll do in the future. Like it absorbs the breakdown, right? It absorbs the uncomfortableness of it, and it allows you to move on from it as opposed to carrying that. And like you say, like, you know, being true to your, you know, not having to lie, not having to make stuff up, not having to make excuses, you know,
Yeah.
talk to it, own it. Yeah.
So many times there have been hard moments and mistakes we've made in different projects, and you have no idea how long and I'm sorry goes. Like, I'm sorry, I blew it. We'll take care of it. Uh, it goes a long way, and I think that there's this reputation about contractors, and not being necessarily honest or taking responsibility or accountability for things, and that can go a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for adding that. Okay. So what else?
Excellence. The best are always busy. The best are always they always have work. And so one of the things that we are focusing as a company is to not necessarily compete on price, but compete on excellence and delivering a great experience across. Again, these are probably one of the biggest investments that some of these families will make in their lifetime. And so making sure that we do the best that we can best of our abilities to deliver the best client experience as possible when it comes down to communication, transparency, craftsmanship and stuff. So when things get hard, just go down. Don't compromise on excellence. Don't compromise. One mentor told me once that quality is not negotiable, and when details matter, perfect or better. And so, yeah, it's just important to do that.
Cool. Thank you. All right, final question. Any final advice, or somebody's listening to this and you've been very successful in growing your contracting business, and it's not been a sprint. It has been a journey, and every year you've taken the next hill. But and a lot of the stuff that you've been talking about today are the stakes in the ground that you've created, that have been the pillars around which you've grown, and really have helped you grow a team and grow a business that's about something bigger than just the mechanics of what you do or just what you can do, right? So is there, you got some experience here and you have wisdom here. And if there was something that you could share with those people who are watching or listening that you think would be maybe some advice that you got along the way that was really impactful, or that you think would be serving of people, what would it be?
Yeah. Great question, Vicky. Great question. I'm going to give 3 advices, if that's okay. The first one, I think that served me very well. And again, I said, you can't be what you cannot see. Is to get a coach. I think that one of the things that I had a before and after in my life in the contracting industry was when, we decided to collaborate and partner with you, Vicky. The amount of insight that you brought to our company, and direction and guidance, just from your experience. You've been in the industry for a long time, so I think that's really important. So to all of my peers out there, I highly recommend go get a coach. And I'm not necessarily doing publicity for Vicky. Vicky is the best. That's why she's my coach. But I genuinely think that you should surround yourself with people who can coach you and give you guidance in what you do. That would be a piece of advice. The other one would be have fun. Don't take yourself too seriously. And I know I'm very young to be saying this, but I was reading a quote the other day that says that the only people who are going to remember 10 years from now my late nights at the office and my long hours of work, which are important for the success, to get things moving. But the only people who are going to remember those things will be my children and my wife. So, which I think is powerful. I think that get rooted in things that you do for, and what is it that is the most important thing in your life, and then just make sure that you have fun, that you don't forget the things that are the most valuable at the end of the day. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I love that. That's a good guidepost, right? Yeah.
And my last piece of advice is, do not be afraid. I think oftentimes, Vicky, we feel like we need to do this alone, right? Like there's so many insecurities, there's so many things that I lack as a leader, that I'm really not good at. And oftentimes we are afraid of bringing other people along in the journey because we are afraid of losing influence. We're afraid of losing territory, or whatever it is that we're afraid of losing. Mm-hmm. And so my third and biggest advice would be, it's okay to hire other people, and it's okay for them to be better than you at what they do. Mm-hmm. I brought people along my journey who are way better than I am at the things that they do, and they play a very significant role in this company, in this family. And it's okay for them to lead those areas, and that doesn't make me less, or doesn't make me more, or doesn't push me aside. It just means that I'm playing in a different lane, and it's okay. So that would be don't do it alone. Hire people who are better than you, and it's okay for them to be better than you at things that they do. And yeah.
Awesome. What a great way to end. Thank you so much for being willing to invest your time and energy in doing this recording with me. I really appreciate it. And for all of you who are watching and listening to this, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you've gotten some nugget that you can take away for yourself and really implement into your business for yourself, even if it's just one simple practice or one simple piece of advice of what Everson shared. And stay tuned for the next video where I will be sharing an interview with the next leader on this leadership series. Thanks again for being here and listening and watching on The Profit Builder. We'll see you next time.